There we go.
So the reason I'm a Rotarian is because I'm a beneficiary, just like Serena and you, I believe, yes? That we were, we received very generous scholarship. It took me a few decades, but I did join Rotary almost 20 years ago. And once I joined, I realized what great service we provide to the people in need in our communities and overseas, not just, offering scholarships, but we actually sweat and, provide work with sweat and provide services. So I just came back from Belize, which is in Central America. We actually painted school buildings and offered all kinds of school related supplies to children, and provided a septic tank so that they can have bigger bathrooms. They, to a school where they only had, I think they have 400 students, and they only had one girls' bathroom and one boys' bathroom. So we provided septic tanks to enlarge the bathrooms and so forth. But anyway, long story short, I decided to become a district governor because I wanted to give back to the Rotary organization and also to the community. Sorry, long story.
Thank you. Shimura-san, Dr. Shimura, please.
Yes, my name is Naoto Shimura. I'm just living in Tokyo, and I'm working as a pediatrician. I was a high school student with Makiko in high school days, so I was invited to this club. So please ask about some kind of medical questions. Thank you.
Mayumi-san. Can you speak?
Who? Sorry, me? Or no?
Mayumi-san, can you speak? Maybe later. Serena, everybody should know you, but maybe.
Hi, I'm Serena. I think everyone already knows my background. So good to see you guys today.
Thank you. And my name is Yumi. I am attending from Japan, as I said, and I am trying to expand this club and give it to Serena and younger people to work harder as a young satellite club, hoping. Thank you. Mayumi-san, can you speak?
Yeah, sorry, I joined from a mobile and it's complicated here. Hi, Stacy. My name is Mayumi. I am joining this club from this July. I'm very excited. I have attended 2 humanitarian trips. We just came back, as Makiko-san said, from Belize, and I joined last year. The Rotary Club has so many opportunities for people to get together to do something good for the society, and I like it, the concept. My father was a Rotarian when he was alive in Japan, and currently I am in California. I just go back and forth between Tokyo and California. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. So this is just 5 of us today. Actually, 2 of us are the members of this Rotary satellite Rotary club, but we have some more. So shall we? So Serena, can you introduce our guest today, Stacy?
Yeah, so Stacy's like a really amazing person, and she was a former Rotary Peace Fellow, and she's just done so much work. And she's going to be talking about her presentation, Peace Building, Hope and Despair, or as if she wants, we can make it more of a conversation style. So thank you for being here, Stacy.
Can I jump in? That is so timely, Stacy, because the Rotary International's incoming Rotary International president, Gordon McInally, his theme is create hope in the world. And his initiative is to raise awareness on mental health. But anyway, just wanted to jump in.
That's fantastic. Yeah. I'll talk a little bit about mental health and hope and despair. So can I share my screen?
Yes, I think you can do that. Can you?
Yep. I'm gonna. So I have a PowerPoint. Let me see if I can. You can definitely see that PowerPoint. I'm just trying to figure out how I don't see myself. There we go. Okay. Okay. So I unfortunately need to keep the PowerPoint this way instead of full screen because I have videos, and the videos often crash my computer. So I've learned from a variety of presentations that I'm not going to do that. So I am delighted, and Dr. Clark, thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to do these. This is my third Rotary Club presentation in this year. And so I feel like I'm on a kind of on a train of doing these presentations. So I'm super excited to do this and looking forward to, well, what you actually think about this. Okay, so I was a Rotary Peace Fellow in 2020, and we actually had to be evacuated because of COVID. And so it's quite interesting. Mine was a little shortened at the time. And so what I would like to do, first of all, is talk about my background, and then I'll talk about some of the work that I'm doing as a researcher, and then also talking about the Rotary Peace Fellowship initiatives. And one of the things that I really am excited to talk about is this peace building practitioner textbook that I've been working with several Rotary Peace Fellows, and will be open access in a PDF sometime in May, which will be really exciting. And it's very focused on Southeast Asia. So I think this is timely that I'm actually doing this presentation with you. So I am a learner first, and a practitioner, educator, and a community-based action researcher and scholar. And I'll note also, as you'll see some of my artwork, my master's is in art therapy, and so I have some artwork that I will show throughout this this presentation. And please, for this presentation, stop me. We're a small group, so if you have questions, let me know, and I'm happy to be interrupted. Okay, so my drive and determination is to co-create spaces where everyone is seen, heard, and valued. And these are spaces that are not giving voice to the voiceless, but rather co-creating spaces where those voices can speak for themselves and be heard. Coming out of my doctorate, it became very clear to me that we needed more books that were co-authored by the Global South and by BOC communities. Too often, books are written about us, and I wanted to co-create spaces that we can talk with or talk to these communities to not only share our stories of frustration, but also solutions and actions. My aim is to cultivate and nurture our knowledge and or critically address the barriers that obstruct it. And the result is that this space benefits everyone. So I'm going to shift right now to my research at my university. I'm a faculty member at Portland State University in Portland, Oregon. I'm a community-based researcher that researches with the community and not on the community, which is pretty different. And so the purpose of this little part of this talk is to focus on hope, despair, and peace building in the context of refugee, asylum seekers, and internally displaced persons. These communities have a right and a need to be a part of the conversation of peace building so that they can offer their own culturally appropriate, contextualized, and hopeful solutions to the forefront. In my research, I wanted to dispel some myths with regard to refugees, internally displaced persons, and asylum seekers. The reality is that there is limited migration happening in the global north compared to the global south. Developing nations host about 80% of the world's refugees. This is not a migration crisis. It is a failure to protect, support, and contextualize issues. And so the theoretical theory that I use is called critical hope. And critical hope's theoretical frameworks derive from 3 disciplines: philosophy, psychology, and education. And it draws from affective and cognitive psychological aspects while creating spaces that support social action and social awakening. Critical hope is a pedagogical tool or practice of teaching that uses a critical theory lens to address unjust systems through meaningful dialogue and empathic responses. So when we use critical hope as a pedagogical tool, pertinent questions are asked about whose voices are heard in describing the refugee and immigrant experience and whose voices are absent. The methodology approach that I use in research is called SOAR. It stands for Speaking for Ourselves Action Research. This research approach is where the community identifies the problem, the research is designed around that problem, and the community uses the research to decide and inform them on the steps to take to resolve the problem. The goal of SOAR is to research with, not on, participants by involving them as co-researchers, positioning them as authorities of their own experience, and further developing their own awareness of systemic issues to move them to social action. So that's my research. And what I wanted to do in my doctorate, in my dissertation, was to research around a program that I developed in South Africa, Jamaica, and Nepal. And here's kind of a snapshot of it. And I am going to, I'm going to see this. Let me know if you can hear the action. Are you able to hear?
No.
How do we co-create spaces of possibility and hope?
There we go. There we go. Yes, we can hear.
How do we co-develop spaces for empathic responses? How do we co-create spaces where everyone is heard, seen, and valued? In the first session, we learn about creating our own books. And we also learn about journaling and how important journaling is. We start with curiosity and using our imagination. We begin to wonder. We ask questions. What can we do with this piece of paper? What can it be? A telescope? A bird? A flute? A plane? Participants learn how to create and design their own books. They also learn about cooperation. They learn a new skill that they can show their friends, families, and communities. The 3 peace education programs I've developed in South Africa, Jamaica, and Nepal are grounded in the fundamental right of a youth's voice in the classroom, community, and the world around them. When we create these figures, we move our bodies. We ask other participants to help us. Participants often say they meditate as they slowly wrap the figures with yarn. We journal before and after the session. And these figures also serve as a main character for our story that we will write in the next session. This program was developed to create brave spaces for the participants to express their feelings using art. In session 3, we asked the participants to write a story about their figure, or it could be themselves, in a conflict that needs a solution. We talk about the mechanics of writing a story. We think about where the character lives, sees, hears, and knows as we thicken the plot. We end the story with no solution. We asked the participants to share their stories and read them aloud. We then ask listeners to think about 3 things when they're actively listening. 1, what was something that you liked? 2, are there any questions you want to ask? 3, are you able to give suggestions for the ending? Because all of these stories need solutions. The last session, participants take in their feedback and rewrite their stories. They highlight and embellish the positive insights. They answer the questions their peers are asking. Lastly, they develop a solution for the conflict by using one or more or a combination of the solutions from their peers. My hope is that we can create mini stories with multiple endings and put them into a digitally and non-digitally book format. I want to co-create spaces where voices can speak for themselves and be heard. This is a space where voices of youth are affirmed, acknowledged, and recognized, and where they can find their own agency to use their voices to change their own lives.
So I developed this program and wanted to know why it worked. And so I went and decided to do a doctorate and focusing and doing an evaluation and implementing it in Kakuma refugee camp in Kenya. And we looked, we focused on particularly higher education and kind of what the policies and implications of actually looking at developing a trainer program in a higher education capacity. And one of the things that I won't go over the findings of the actual research because I want to move on. But one of the policy implications that I would say is when it comes to higher education in protracted context, when we think of policy implications, we need to recognize that their pain is also our pain. Our policies need to respond with empathy and not sympathy. So only 5% of refugee populations has an opportunity of higher education. And currently in the field, we're designing more programs so that prospective students can access these programs, but we're not building a future for the next steps. And when students graduate from refugee camps, they
Stacy?
can't move. Yeah.
Serena seems to have a question.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm just
Yeah.
curious, like the program's really, really interesting. And I just was wondering when you first started like implementing it, how was the community's response? Were they receptive? Did they kind of, or like how did that play out a bit? Sorry, I'm just really curious in that.
No, I think it's a good question. I have not gone into any community that I haven't been invited to. And so there was an invitation in Deep Sluit Informal Settlement in South Africa, and that's where I started in 2001. There was an invitation in Nepal where I implemented it in a monastery, and another invitation from a school district in Jamaica, as well as not so much the Kakuma refugee community invited me, but Jesuit Refugee Services. I worked alongside with them with Jesuit Worldwide Learning and Higher Education. And the receptiveness was that this was kind of a neat program to actually do. They didn't really understand that they're actually learning through it until the end. And then they're like, whoa, this is so cool. This is something that, I thought this was just an art program that we're going to do, but it's actually really focusing on critical thinking skills, storytelling, literacy, and just kind of the sense of who they are and who they want to be in the future.
Sorry, I know Makiko has a question as well, but can I just follow up real quick? Do you think this model could be applied to refugee and asylee kind of like populations within the US context or
Definitely.
European context? Because yeah, okay, I was just curious how it would kind of like translate, and I'd love to talk about that, more. But
yeah, I would love to. Yes, we actually did it in Poland, believe it or
Okay, cool.
not, with another Rotary Peace Fellow, and also kind of tried to pilot it to see if it would support Ukrainians coming into Poland. So this program itself is really, well, I'm biased because I developed it, but is very interesting in the fact that you don't really need to know the language as a facilitator. That it could be in Japanese. It doesn't really matter if I understand the stories. It just matters if the people who are there understand the stories. So the art itself can move in all different international aspects and also domestically. I have not actually tried it domestically, believe it or not. But yeah, the majority of my work is international. Yeah. So
Thanks.
Other questions?
talk. Yeah.
Kind of related to that, but as I was listening, I thought that because you don't really need to be able to explain with words the feelings inside. So I thought that it might be for smaller children, but are you saying that it could be applied to any age group, any background?
Yes, it's actually the best age group is youth. So in their high school or middle school, the primary it's fun that they actually participate. But I think it's really when you're hitting the critical thinking skills, it's really, and the storytelling, it can be really pretty in depth. Now, I would say our age, in the 30s to 60s, we're really difficult people to work with because we question quite a bit too much, and we're also very critical about art making. But it has been done. I would say also older adults in the past. I don't think we worked with anyone past 80, but I would assume that older adults, just because they also are very similar to a flexible mind. They've learned a lot, and they're not, they're ready to try new things. But I think, unfortunately, our age group right now is probably the most difficult, just because we have such a critical mind about what art is and what the perfection of the story and whatnot. But I think youth, and this was implemented particularly with, I use the definition, the African Charter definition, which is 13 to 35 years old. And I use that because 25 to 35 often get missed in a lot of projects because they're not seen as young minds, but 25 to 35 are very good minds that we can tap and support, particularly when it comes to higher education. And so that's the reason why that population is also a very good population to work in this program. So this program has been used globally, and I would be happy to come to Japan and implement it in Japan if that interests you. Just putting that out there. But yeah.
Wow.
Any more questions before I move on? So what I would say also is, you know, I wanted to particularly look where hope was in, because so let me back up. The hunch that I had about this program was that it actually co-created spaces to hope. And that's the reason why my dissertation was very focused on hope. But the idea is, so hope can be really esoteric and fuzzy. But why I use critical hope is because critical hope is basically hope with action. And that supports the kind of work that I want to do, is not only co-creating the spaces that we can hope, but also actually putting things in action and doing things. And so, as you can see in the artwork and whatnot, they're actually doing things. They're actually talking to each other. I am the facilitator, but I actually don't facilitate the conversations because, particularly in these countries that I don't speak the language, they facilitate it themselves. And so that also puts some self-determination and agency in their side. So I'm going to move on, if that's okay, and move on to what I've done with the Rotary Peace Fellowship initiatives. And that might be probably more interesting to all of you because some of you have been beneficiaries. So I am ever so grateful of the Rotary Peace Fellowship. It has connected me to this, it's connected me to Serena, which, you know, and Serena and I actually worked on the first Global Peace Conference. And now we're on our third Global Peace Conference through the Rotary Peace Fellowship Association alumni. And so what I would say is that I was going to do this video really quick of
the journey towards the 2021 Global Peace Conference has just begun, and we want to invite you to join us. Just months ago, we had our first conference. 1,500 participants from 115 countries over the course of 24 hours. Pretty amazing, isn't it? Come join us this week as we dream big and envision what a truly awesome conference 2021 can look like. Stacy will explain the meaning behind this awesome drawing, and we'll explore some other conference formats. We want more regional voices, more artists, more video producers, more dreamers, more everything. So come join us.
So that was kind of a commercial for our 2021. So Elaine Prattley is also a Rotary Peace Fellow, and we co-chaired it. And we just had our 2023 one, but it's a 24-hour conference. I don't know if any of you, Serena, you were definitely involved in the first one, but did you go to the 2023?
I did not know.
Yeah, so I mean, all of you are invited, and it's a 24-hour clock, which is really interesting. And we go around the globe and basically do focus on peace building, and also kind of the expertise of Rotary Peace Fellows.
Stacy, so is this an online peace conference?
It is an online. Yeah, it has to be online because it's 24 hours. I take that back. I mean, there are some hybrid. They've had a couple of people who have had groups that have come in and been together as a group and done things that are actually in the country that they're presenting. But mainly it's online. And I'm happy to share when we do maybe, well, I don't know if we're going to do a 2024. It's a lot of effort, but I hope that, you know, we do. But if we do, I'll definitely send a link to Serena for all of you. You're all invited. You don't have to be any association with Rotary at all. It's just something that's free, and it's something that happens 24/7. No, sorry, not 7 days a week, but 24 hours, which is a lot of time. I stayed up for 24 hours, and that was just not healthy. But it was a fun project to do.
Which day is it? Is it done during the weekend or which
It's
day
usually
would-
done like on a Friday through Saturday, because we actually start in Oceania, and then you know, down in Australia and New Zealand, and then spanning over Asia, and then going to Europe, and then Africa, as well as the Americas. And so it's just a really it's a great space to be in. And we had this. I actually wasn't really a part of the planning at all, but I was part of one of the presentations, and I did it with my counterpart that is in Cambodia. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about really quickly is that I received a Fulbright in 2022 or 2021 and 2022. And the Rotary Club in Thailand was just instrumental in supporting me and helping me get connections, and really helping me to live in actually Bangkok, because Bangkok can be a pretty lonely place. And so that's something that I would say is that I really appreciate Rotary in that aspect. The purpose of the Fulbright was to co-research and co-create spaces that offer joint authorship and editors and partnership with youth in Mela refugee camp, which is and Tom Heen refugee camp, and also the Thai hosts communities to explore the pedagogy and also politics of hope through the use of using SOAR methodology. The last thing that I will say is, in this book that I really would like, that I'm very excited to present, is this peace building practitioner book. So this book was given to, I was asked to be an editor of this book. And one of the things that I asked was, I was like, yes, this would be great if we got all, my buddies from Rotary Peace Fellows to support it, the content. However, many of them don't come from Cambodia or Southeast Asia. And so my stance in writing is that we also need to value the lived experience and lived expertise. And so one of the things that I asked was, I said, can we actually have, folks who are from, and you'll see here, let's see, sorry, I'm jumping ahead. You'll see here is that there's a lot of Rotary Peace Fellows in this book. And Serena, you probably recognize some of them, which will be, which is, it's fantastic that this is, definitely my network of folks. But one of the things I said to them, I said, we definitely have to have a shared experience that actually has lived expertise and experts in the field. And so they collaborated and they wrote chapters together. And also they also were paid the same because we valued both expertise. And so this is a project that we started last year, and now we're going to do a very, very soft launch, I'm hoping, in the Rotary International in Melbourne. And then we'll do a bigger launch in 2024 in Cambodia. But it really focuses on the Southeast Asia, and that's why I feel like it's a fantastic place that I actually get to present to you. That this will be available for free, and eventually when we get the PDF. And it's just a really beautiful book. And it's focused on, so what's the idea was, is the book was will be placed in every classroom in Cambodia. And it's probably around high school age. And teachers, and they were also hoping that politicians would hold on to it and read it, because it has a lot of background information about different kinds of peace building and activities and whatnot that you can actually do in order to create the space of peace building. Yeah. And so with that, I am actually done with that. So thank you very much. I really appreciate Serena for inviting me. And I'm open for questions.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
So the book looks amazing. So if you could send me the link when it comes, that'd be great. I would really appreciate that. But I also wanted to know, have you written anything on your work with refugees, asylees, and displaced persons other than your dissertation? Or can you send me some of those? Because I've been working on a project trying to incorporate migrant or voices into national policy. So like seeing from below is the idea. So when you said that, I was like, I want to read your stuff. Like, this is amazing. Would that be okay?
Yeah, definitely. I have a couple of papers coming out this year, but yeah, I
Cool.
have probably I can send you about 4.
Yeah, that'd be great. Please do, because the methodology is like spot on. So I just
Great.
love to read it. Thank you. I'm really excited.
The other thing I would add is there is a book that that I have edited as well that all of you might be interested in. Let me give you the link. It's
Great.
Global South Scholars talking about the third space. And so let's see. So this is a book that just came out that I edited, and I have a couple of chapters written in there that I think all of us would be very interested in, just because it's really talking about what BIPOC communities and Global South communities feel in the academy, and how they're co-creating third spaces in order for them to survive and thrive. And so there's so much work that there's actually a Japanese scholar who is actually 2 Japanese scholars that are based in say Sweden, and they're talking about kind of this. I think it would be quite interesting. Let me look at their. Let me see. I want to see their title. But they're fantastic. They're talking about. Sorry. Here we go. They're talking about kind of this binary, challenging the binary here notion of who we are. Whoops. Of who we are. It's chapter 9. If you can look at that link. But I'm going to try to post it here. Oh, there it goes. So this is done particularly just because this is more Japanese focused. But these are 2 authors that that are married to folks who are in Europe, and they talk about their ideas of who they are and what they're doing as scholars. I think it's fascinating. And so that's also something that I really want to do, is to co-create spaces where people actually can publish their work. And if they need help, I can help them. But all of them probably don't need my help. But they just need a space, and so that's something that we can all do, is co-create these spaces just for folks to actually put out their work and get their work supported. Yeah.
Here comes Dad.
Oh my gosh.
I I hope you will forgive my unusual appearance.
What is that?
I've just come from a fun Saturday afternoon party where people were encouraged to dress flamboyantly. And I hope that you will encourage me to dress flamboyantly and forgive me for showing up almost an hour late.
We welcome you, Tad. But you just missed an amazing presentation by Stacy. But you can listen to the video, yeah? Watch the video later. I just wanted to
presentation.
Presentation, yes. I just wanted to say I am just immensely impressed that our Peace Fellows are doing such a phenomenal work using the network and using the connection with Rotary clubs. Because I'm sorry, Yumi, but I was ambassadorial scholar many decades ago. And in those days, we were like, okay, just, go wherever you want and study whatever you want. And that was it. And so we had very little, connections to each other, except for maybe, among just one district. But now you have a worldwide network with your fellow Peace Fellows, and starting this online peace conference. That's just amazing. I have attended many in-person peace conferences sponsored by Rotarians, and I don't think I have met I have heard any presentations by Peace Fellows yet. And so I look forward to attending one of your upcoming online. I don't know if I can stay 24 hours, but I look forward to it.
I do too, Stacy. Thank you so much for a wonderful presentation. I would be very interested in that. And I am a teacher in university, and I wonder if I could use your peace building practitioner textbook in some way. So I would be very, very interested in having a copy of it, or if it can be sent by PDF.
Yeah, it will come out PDF. It's and again, this is open access. It's free, and it's actually funded. I think it has a number of funders, but yeah, we wanted it open access. And my hope is, and Serena, maybe you can help me with this, is pushing it in the Peace Rotary centers, because there's so many. It's very good writing in general. It's from Rotary Peace Fellows. So I would think that these peace centers, and not everyone is from the certificate program. Actually, there's several that are actually from the master's program, which is a little different. And so I would think that people would be really interested in looking at what these Rotary Peace Fellows are actually doing. And they're doing amazing work. And we're just not, Serena is doing amazing work, and we're just not able to actually highlight that somehow. And so that's something that I'm trying to do as well. Yeah.
Who would be providing this? This information or this textbook? Who will be providing this?
Who's the publisher? Or who?
Yes. How can we access this?
Well, you can access it from me. It's actually it's through Women Peacemakers in Cambodia. They're the publishers, and so I can give you their link as well.
Yes, if Cambodian people could be the center for doing this, work of providing such a great book, maybe they will be profited, and I don't know how they can get the profit, but it would be very nice if people can donate or do something.
Yes.
For them.
So that's actually a fabulous idea. That's something that hopefully we'll be doing little videos at the Rotary International in Cambodia. That's one of the things, since the book is free to anybody. Our hope is that people would actually offer a donation to the women peacemakers in Cambodia. They're doing such a fantastic job. They have a couple of other books out that are edited and written also by another Rotary Peace Fellow, Raymond Heeman. And so, and I've been working with Raymond quite a bit right now. And he's working on his dissertation in New Zealand, and he's just doing amazing work. I just feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm full of hope right now and love, but I just think that there's so many people that are doing a lot of amazing work. And right now, the news and media is really focusing on lots of negative, and I don't want to be a positive toxicity point of view, but I do want to also share that we are doing quite a bit of work in peace building, and we should actually highlight that more often. Yeah.
When the textbook
So-
is out, I hope Serena can give us the link or
Definitely
yes,
send.
please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'm coming to Melbourne, and I think Mayumi too. So when are you making your presentation?
Well, it's still, this is recorded, so I'm a little.
Okay, I can stop the recording here.